what I've been focusing on lately is the recognition that throughout my life I have attracted relationships that have been dysfunctional. And that's only because I learned those dynamics growing up. But the interesting thing now that I am choosing to do for myself is to decondition myself from being attracted to these dynamics. It's strange that because you are raised in an environment of chaos, where there's drama and gossip, there's unpredictability, there's all these different things that are unhealthy, unsafe, and unstable, you actually then take on those dynamics because, of course, you're going to take on what it is that you learn. And as a result of that, you seek that out in relationships. So, you can go out, you could go up to somebody, ask them if they are, if they like being stressed out, if they like chaos, if they like unpredictability. They're probably going to look at you like, what? Of course not. But the reality of the matter is that if you're raised in that, you're going to be conditioned by that. That's going to be familiar to you, and you're going to seek that out. So, a challenging aspect of this part of the journey is deconditioning myself from those dysfunctional dynamics. So, it's kind of like, you learned all these things. You thought that relationships were this, that, and the other. They're not. And it's time to unlearn that. It's time to see it in a different way, in a different format. And that format is very challenging to the narrative that's been playing. It's also very interesting to me that for people that display dysfunctional dynamics and everything, things like peace in a relationship is actually going to look boring to them. I'm fascinated that healthy people could actually be boring to people that are unhealthy. Like, sitting with that is very interesting. Taking the time to actually just sit with that reality and recognize it for what it is very interesting. I've I've looked at it myself too, and it's like when you approach it and you're somebody who's so used to um, you know, you're conditioned as the emotional container, right? You're somebody who's so used to being the rescuer, and you approach somebody who's healthy, and you look at them, and you're kind of like circling them, right? And you're looking at all these different aspects of them, right? And you're confused because at a point you're like, where's the shit? Where are the cracks? What? You're different. Why? What's going on here? And then because of the way that you're conditioned to be the rescuer, right? You're conditioned to be the one that needs to save people from themselves or whatever the heck is going on in their lives. You take a step back and you confuse yourself because you walk away from something that's actually beneficial, and instead you move towards what's not beneficial. So, when I say that, by the way, I mean you walk away from what could be really good for you and you walk towards what is absolutely awful for you. You know, it's a very strange thing being raised in chaos, being raised in abuse, being raised in all of that stuff, and then, you know, associating that with what it's what you think it's supposed to be, like healthy and all that. Like, no, like obviously none of that stuff is healthy. But the interesting thing is where I'm at right now. I'm looking at it and it's like, okay, so I have to decondition myself from being attracted to the chaos, to the drama, to the gossip, to the unpredictability. Okay. And it's kind of strange to sit in that space of awareness because, I don't have to. This is all coming down to choice. But I know that if I want a better life for myself, I have to recognize these patterns, the fact that I have repeated them so many times. Recognize my standards and stuff. And it's also interesting, too, because as a person, I have evolved so much over the past, like, I don't know, I'd say 5 to 7 years. It's been quite a while, and things have been very interesting. Um, I've changed a lot, yeah. But taking the step in the dark and knowing that if you keep going, you'll understand what has been there. And then, finally finding the light switch on the wall, turning the light on, and changing the narrative. Because you turn the light switch on and you realize that what you thought was wonderful was actually a fucking cesspool, right? And you realize that there's been nothing but shit around you. So it's a very interesting journey, deconditioning yourself from the chaos and what you associate that with. It's also very interesting because a lot of it has to do with feeling the feelings, right? Stepping into the shame, the chaos, and allowing yourself to feel all that stuff, and also recognizing that for a long time you've been very dissociated, and that's the reason that all of this stuff has become normalized and you've never questioned it, and therefore it's just become hardwired into you, into the program that runs you. And challenging that entire rhetoric, that entire narrative is what you need to do. So I'm sitting in that space of awareness and I'm like, okay, so I need to feel it. I need to allow myself to feel everything that I didn't when I was dissociated. I need to allow myself the space of awareness to recognize that these dynamics are dysfunctional. They're not what I think they are. They're not what I have been associating them with for my entire life. And then kind of just like turning everything around and being like, all right, well then, peace. And when I say peace, I mean like instead of chaos, right? Which to part of me is very weird. Because again, there's that part of me that's like, where is it? This is too still. This is too peaceful. Where's the chaos? Where's the drama? Where's the gossip? Where's the unpredictability? Ah! And then, instead of being like, okay, this is too still. I need to create something. And when I say create something, I mean create, chaos. Instead, stepping into that space of awareness, healing that, and recognizing, nope, that is dysfunctional.